Greetings, friends. We start where we left off in the last broadcast. There will be a physical ruler and a spiritual ruler in the United States of Europe, a military super dictator called the Beast, and the false prophet. It's always been the case with the resurrections of the Holy Roman Empire. Now remember Revelation 9. Satan will open the bottomless pit into which the Beast descended, Revelation 11 and verse 7. Here are the two witnesses who are put to death by this system. When the two witnesses shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them. These two men who have fire come out of their mouth shall overcome them and destroy them. But at some point, God turns off their power, and this beast that comes out of the bottomless pit successfully attacks them. Now, let's recall that the beast arose from its deadly wound, 476 to 554, 78 years, and it went for 1,260 years till 1814, where kind of temporarily descended into the abyss. The beast briefly arose again during the Second World War, then descended once again into a condition of restraint. God says this beast will rise out of its, quote, pit one more time, and then finally would go into perdition. Revelation 17:8, meaning permanent destruction. It will never again trouble the world. Before its demise, the European Confederation will wreak terrible destruction, a nuclear attack upon the modern nations of Israel. Revelation 9:2, the smoke arose from the pit, smoke of a great furnace. The sun, the air were darkened by reason of the smoke. Turn back to Revelation 9. And we're going to read one more verse. I deliberately stopped there, but let's put the verses together. Let the Bible interpret the Bible. Revelation 9 and verse 3. Now remember, we read verse 2. He opened the bottomless pit. Satan comes down, pulls his system out of this condition of restraint in the bottomless pit, the star of verse 1. Smoke of the great furnace, sun, air were darkened, and so forth. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. What do scorpions do? They sting and they poison. So here are these locusts that are very, very destructive. Remember, they come from the destroyer. Over in verse 11, the king over them, over these locusts, the angel of the bottomless pit, that's the star who has access to it, cast down from heaven, who can open it up, and out pops the final Roman system. His name in the Hebrew is Abaddon, the Greek Apollyon, which means a destroyer. He's the ultimate destroyer. Now keep this in mind. Turn to Nahum chapter 3, verse 17. Your crowned are as the locusts. Interesting. And your captains as the great grasshoppers. You ever watch a grasshopper? Boom, 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 pop, 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 gone. Move very quickly. Which camp in the hedges in the cold day, but when the sun arises, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. Your shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. They're in a condition of restraint. Your nobles shall dwell in the dust. Your people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathers them. Ultimately, they're destroyed. They're in a condition of restraint now. They're symbolized as locusts, who are the crowned and the captains, the leaders of the resurrected Roman Empire. When it says in Revelation 9:3 that these locusts appear, it's right as the centerpiece of this final resurrection returns. Why does God call them locusts? Why didn't he call them flies or gnats or wasps or hornets or something else? Locusts hide under the ground. Remember, they're down in the pit in this condition of restraint, in a condition of restrained activity till it's time to come forth and destroy. That's what locusts do. They just come and wipe out all that's green. But they wait underground. Interesting how God puts things together. So the resurrected Roman Empire is going to be brought out of its underground, sort of conditional, bottomless pit by Satan following his second war in heaven. The leader of the coming European Confederation, the beast, will shock the world. Watch how easily people are mesmerized by lies. If you doubt that, all you have to do is watch the American political landscape these days. People just blat lies, and millions vacuum them in and believe them. And then when they find out that one of the politicians told a lie, as has happened multiple times, they remember it about 3 to 10 days. Well, wait a minute, they lied, but that's over with. Wait a minute, they lied. Clearly, pointedly, and they're caught time and again, and people can't seem to remember. Once a liar, always a liar. It's like my father told me, son, remember, once a thief, always a thief. If an employee steals, they never stop. The same is true of a liar. People who lie, lie. It's what they do. Nahum 1 and verse 11. There is one come out of you that imagines evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. The beast and false prophet actually go against God. He will literally, if you go to Daniel 8 and verse 25, it says that this final person will stand up against the Prince of Princes, Daniel 8:25, and the God of gods, Daniel 11:36, both times describing the same person. The beast and false prophet no doubt are alive, and they're adults. And they do already work the mystery of iniquity, 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 7. They are working feverishly, you might almost say, as locusts underground. They don't last long. Locusts come, the destruction is terrific, terrible, and they're gone. And behind the scenes, awaiting their time to be revealed. Now, let's notice how the beast will achieve great power and authority. It won't seize power by means of a coup or by military conquest. 10 European leaders will give their power and strength to the beast. They'll say, we're too divided. We need somebody charismatic. Well, this man will be ultimately Satan-possessed. He will be widely viewed as a deliverer, a kind of a savior, the only man who can lead Western civilization out of its troubles. Troubles grow worse. The prophet Daniel sheds further light on the beast's rise to power. He wrote in a dual prophecy of Antiochus Epiphanes, who came 167 to 164 BC, will again be fulfilled in the last days, Matthew 24:15. Christ pointed back to Daniel. There are things we're supposed to understand in the book of Daniel. Christ said so at the very end. Now, verse 14, this gospel of the kingdom, Matthew 24:14, all the things that precede Christ's coming. That's what this chapter is about. Shall be preached in all the world for a witness to all nations, and then shall the end come. This work has to announce that at the end of all this bad news, we have to announce this coming world-ruling super government. Right before the end, then shall the end come. It's announced as a witness, not to convert the nations, just as a warning, a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come. When you therefore, this is Christ speaking, shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso reads, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, and so forth. The beast will be a person of fierce countenance, Daniel 8:23 says, and understanding, dark trickery and craftiness. Let me just read that again. The Amplified Bible says will be a person of fierce countenance, and yet a flatterer, able to get 10 people to feel reassured because of his charisma. And understanding dark trickery and craftiness. This man, we might say, would be a sly manipulator, cunning in the art of political maneuvering. Verse 24, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Well, it's clearly a reference to the 10 rulers giving their power to the beast, and also Satan empowering him. So you've got one human being who thinks he gets power from 10 kings who give him the power in Revelation, But also, he doesn't realize ultimately the power in the whole system, and no doubt inspiring the 10 men to give this charismatic flatterer power, is Satan, the destroyer. Now, continuing in Daniel 8:24, I'm going to continue in the Amplified Bible. And he shall corrupt and destroy astonishingly, and shall prosper, and do his own pleasure. And he shall corrupt and destroy the mighty men and the holy people, the nations of Israel. And through his policy he shall cause trickery to prosper in his hand. He shall magnify himself in his heart and mind, and in their security he will corrupt and destroy many. The world will trust him. They'll see the supernatural power. Nobody ever stops and says, could these miracles be done by Satan the devil? Nobody ever asks when they see healings on television and these televangelists slapping people around who profess to be healed. Nobody ever says, now wait a minute, I read in the Bible that the devil performs certain miracles, and they just assume it's of God. There are miracles in the end of the age that come from God and some from the devil. And the prophecy there in Daniel 8:25 concludes with a clear statement of the time setting of these events. He, that is the beast, shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken, and that by no human hand. The beast will confront Jesus Christ at his second coming. Possessed by Satan and believing Christ has come down to his turf, the beast will think, I got knocked from heaven, and he will actually believe he can destroy Christ in a counterstrike, and he will be destroyed. Now, the beast of Revelation 17 is shown to be ridden by a false woman. And we understand all the resurrections of the Holy Roman Empire. Europe, now economically unified, will emerge as a religious political union. False prophet will be doing miracles supernaturally, and the beast is the one who does the destroying. The beast will not propel himself to leadership through his own political craftiness alone, but will be supported and encouraged by the false prophet. You'll have these 10 kings trying to figure out what to do to solve the problems of the West. You'll have this terrible religious system led by a king of the South threatening Europe. Even worse, there are fuel wars coming. There are food wars coming soon. Read your paper. Headlines, USA Today. Terrible, terrible strife in Egypt. There are food shortages from Asia all through Africa to the steppes of Europe, and the whole world knows it. And of course, in the drive for ethanol, alternative fuels, because oil prices are high, a lot of grains, rice, and wheat are going into fuel. Is there going to be food wars? You'll have these 10 kings trying to figure out what to do to keep making money. A great miracle-working religious figure, the false prophet, will play a big role in the selection of the beast. Look at Revelation 19, verse 20. The beast was taken, with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him. 16:13 says the same thing. We touched on it, I believe, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast, them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive and destroyed in the lake of fire. These lying wonders and false miracles will allow him to command the obedience of countless millions of people. Revelation 13, verses 13 and 14. He does great wonders so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. The image of the beast, explained in other places, was a wound by a sword and did live, power to give life to the image of the beast. Now, this great false prophet will have kind of his equal in the blasphemous claims of the beast. Read Ezekiel 28, 1 to 10. The beast will also claim to be God, just as the Caesars did. The Caesars all claimed to be God come down in the flesh. It's the same system.